had a couple of requests to make a video about how we do our charcuterie, so I thought I would show you how to make a rose out of meat. Here I have made a pepperoni rose and a pastrami rose. And you can see they need to be up against something so that they can stay together. Or you could take some twine and tie them so that they would stay, some cooking twine. But the end result is really pretty, and it makes your charcuterie board look very elegant and adds a lot of color and texture and just beauty to your board. So I'm going to show you how to do this in a few easy steps. Okay, when you're making a pepperoni rose or salami or pastrami or any meat rose, you don't have to have a set number of pieces. You just kind of want to keep adding until it looks like, you know, what you want it to look like. So to start, I'm going to fold my pepperoni in half so that the edges match up. And then you just roll tightly around, and that's going to be the center of our rose. For the next piece, I'm going to fold it not all the way across, so I'm going to leave a gap and fold there. And I just want to look at my rose and the height of the edge, and I want to put the height for this, the center, that's going to be the highest part of this petal, opposite that or to the side of it, but not right behind it, so that the height gets spread around and alternates around the flower. And you're just going to wrap that around, and I'm just holding it. I want to try to match up the bottom so that when I sit it down, it has a good flat bottom. So I've got two pieces there. I'm going to do the same with this one with about the same amount of gap. I'm going to put the height away from where I put it the last time. So you can see it's starting to look like a rose. That was 3 pieces. And then I'm going to go ahead and do one more about the same, maybe a little bit higher over here. And they're not wrapping all the way around, and that's fine. I'm just going to hold it until I get finished. If your meat is cold, very cold, it's a little bit harder to do this. If you can let it get, you know, sit out for maybe 10 minutes, it'll stick a little bit better to itself. I'm going to leave an even bigger gap here as my petals need to get taller. That's the way I make them taller. And you can see we're just almost done here. When I get close to the end, I'm going to really make them taller so that I can fold them down, and I'll show you that. So this is a really beautiful way to add meat to your tray, and as you can see, it's quite a bit of meat, and people can pull off a petal at a time to eat. I've lost count of how many petals we have, but it's okay. You can stop whenever you feel like it is looking the way you want it to. Okay, I think I'm gonna stop there. That looks good. I'm gonna push that middle down. It's kind of wanting to come out. And then I'm just gonna fold down these edges to make that look a little more realistic. And there you have your rose. My meat is pretty cold, so it is not wanting to stick very well, but if I were putting this on a board, I would just put it in between something or up against something so that it would hold together on the edges. And there's your pepperoni rose. And I'm gonna also do one with some pastrami. This has got a ring of pepper around the edge, so it makes a really nice contrast for the edges of the petals. So for the first one, again, I want that edge to show. So I'm gonna fold it this way, where we'll have that edge, and I'm gonna just roll it up really tightly for the center. And there's what the middle of our flower will look like. And then I'm gonna make this one a little bit taller. And I'm gonna put this highest peak opposite the high peak of what I have already rolled. And then just wrap around. You can do this with any thin sliced meat. If you get something that's thick, it becomes very difficult and the petals don't look as delicate and beautiful as they do with the thinner slices. And you can see these colors are really pretty. It looks almost realistic, like a flower. With these, you just kind of have to pick which edge do you want to stick up, and I really like the contrast in the colors here, so I'm going to use that edge. I always put the fold to the center because I don't want to have to hold on to it or worry about it once I have the meat wrapped around. Some of these pieces are pretty short, so you might even try just wrapping it without folding it. So it's just very forgiving. So if that's a little too tall, I'm going to go ahead and fold it a little bit. But you just kind of have to use your eye to judge how it's looking and make adjustments. And then towards the end, you're going to want to fold those petals out to make that look like a real flower. And there you go. It's almost too pretty to eat. Okay, I'm going to show you now how to make a prosciutto rose. And prosciutto comes sliced very thinly in kind of a rectangle shape. And it's so thin and easy to tear that you have to be careful with it. And even then, as you can see, sometimes it still just won't cooperate. And anywhere where it's stuck to itself, it's very likely to tear. It comes with these plastic sheets in between it that help, but where it's overlapping, it's giving me some trouble. Okay, for the first piece, well, I only used 2 pieces of prosciutto to do this. So I'm going to fold it kind of at an angle where I've got a small end and then a larger end. And then I'm just gonna start rolling from the small end and just tucking in those pieces that kind of broke loose. And you can see it's starting, and I'm gonna open the top a little bit, so I'm not folding completely straight around here. Take that piece of fat off. Okay, and so that's going to be the center, and then I'm just going to use one more piece to go around that. So we'll see how this turns out. So it's so thin and tears so easily. This one isn't my favorite, but I really love the colors and I love the taste of this, so I wanted to include it in our boxes, and this is a fun and pretty way to do that. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and just fold up just the bottom of this, and then I'm gonna start rolling. Let's see, I'm gonna figure this out here. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna start rolling over here. And again, kind of at an angle so that the top is loose, a little bit loose, and the bottom is tighter. And this has that nice white ring of fat, which makes for a very pretty flower. Okay, it's kind of like a rosette. It's not big. If there's a piece you don't really like, just take it off. It's pretty forgiving. It's gonna be eaten anyway. But there's our little rosette of prosciutto. Doesn't look as pretty from the side, but we're gonna be hiding that anyway. And it looks very pretty from the top.